Washing kills. That's the front page headline of French daily newspaper Libération on the day that the European Commission meets to define, measure, and label all the little chemicals found in everything from cosmetics and hair care products to contact lenses, toys, and even some food. Endocrine disrupting chemicals, ECBs, have been linked to fertility, adverse pregnancy outcomes, obesity, diabetes, childhood leukemia, and more. For more on this story, we're joined from Brussels by biologist Barbara Demeneix. Thank you for joining us here on France 24.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
You teach physiology and endocrinology. Before we ask you about the topic at hand, tell us what endocrinology is.
Well, endocrinology is the science of the hormones that are produced by different glands in our body. They cover things like estrogens and androgens, the male and female hormones, and of course the one I'm very interested in, which is the thyroid gland, the thyroid hormone produced by the thyroid gland. And we're very concerned because so many chemicals in the environment can interfere with these hormones and can confuse the way that these hormones speak to all the different cells in our bodies.
So these ECBs, as they're known, how do you label them? How do you quantify them? Is it something that's easy to do?
Well, it should be something that's easy to do. The World Health Organization has defined quite clearly what is an endocrine disruptor. With the various experts from the Endocrine Society, a society that brings together 18,000 scientists working on endocrinology, we have put out a number of papers saying that we think it should be a fairly straightforward manner in which we can define the legislation on endocrine disrupting chemicals. We know that they're present not only in our food, but also in cosmetics, in the air we breathe, in the water we drink. And we really need to better define which chemicals amongst those that are on the market are those that are interfering with endocrine disruption. We think that we should be able to do this in the same way that we do it for carcinogens, by classifying compounds that are known to be endocrine disruptors, those that could be, and those that have a suspected mode of action. So we have put forward a number of arguments. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that newspaper headline certainly catching people's eye in this country, in Libération. Is it true that washing can kill?
No, it can't kill. But clearly, if you're using every day, you're using the same shampoo, the same conditioner, there's lots of products that contain endocrine disruptors, then you're going to increase your exposure. Now, if you're a pregnant woman, this can obviously increase your chemical burden, and you need to be careful about not only about what you're using to wash in, but what you're eating and what you're drinking. And it's not surprising that given the numbers of chemicals on the market, I mean, there are 145,000 chemicals on the REACH list at the moment. And so we really need to know which of those chemicals that we're using, as you've just said, to wash in or to eat or to put on our food, etc., are the ones that are causing harm to our endocrine system. We can identify, or we should be able to identify some of these chemicals, and we should be able to define the legislation to get them off the market.
Get them off the market? Are there alternatives out there? I'm thinking especially of something like cosmetics.
There are alternatives. Some of the chemicals, unfortunately, that we are replacing certain chemicals that have been identified as endocrine disruptors. We can think of BPA or bisphenol A. It's been taken off the market in a number of situations, like in baby bottles, plastic bottles that are used for baby food. But BPA has been replaced by BPS, which has not been sufficiently tested, and we know that that's what's called a regrettable substitution. So we can produce chemicals that are less harmful, but that we need to, A, have more research, and the chemical industry is capable of doing this. We can have what's called green chemistry, a bigger effort put into having products that are more readily biodegradable. This can be done. And we need better testing to ensure that these chemicals that are put on the market as substitutes for others that we're taking off the market are indeed less harmful to human health and to the environment.
Barbara Demeneix, excuse me for playing devil's advocate, but if this stuff is so harmful, why hasn't been something done about it before? And I see that the European Commission would be the first to legislate on this.
Absolutely. This is why we've written articles and said that this is a missed opportunity. We have this opportunity now as chemical production has increased. Let's get a few facts on the table. Chemical production has increased 300-fold since the 1970s. So, and the numbers, this is both in terms of the numbers of chemicals and the diversity of the different categories of chemicals. So we're not keeping pace with the chemicals being put on the market, and we're not sufficiently testing them. So why hasn't this happened before? Well, the fact is that the European Parliament voted over 4 years ago more than that, 2009, and they said that they gave the Commission up until 2013 to put on the table better criteria and better means of analysing which chemicals were the worst offenders. And in fact, they were even taken to court and condemned by the European Court of Justice for not having fulfilled what they were supposed to have done to protect human health. Now, so it's not the fact that why hasn't it been done before. The Parliament has alerted the Commission to the fact that something needs to be done many years ago. So the Commission is delaying, and not only by delaying are they harming human health, well, we think they're harming human health by allowing these chemicals on the market without sufficient testing. These chemicals are also damaging the environment in the long term too.
There was a high-profile group of 7 French Green Party or activists associated with the environmental movement who had their hair tested to draw attention to the problem. They say that it's the chemical industry, that it's the labs, it's the big food giants that have been the ones influencing the European Commission.
Well, there's some good investigative journalists that have actually shown this, that the Commission has been very ready to listen to the chemical lobby, especially the pesticide lobby on these points. And indeed, we are facing the endocrinologists, the scientists. We are under continual attack by many representatives of other scientists that speak for or are paid for by the chemical industry. It's quite well demonstrated.
Is it akin to fighting the tobacco lobby?
For sure. Well, the tactics that are being used are very similar to those that have been used by the tobacco lobbies. The creation of doubt around the idea of whether or not there really is a problem. When you've got 18,000 scientists that are endocrinologists or clinicians working on endocrinology and coming out with statements at regular intervals saying there is a problem, this massive increase in non-communicable disease, such as infertility, reproductive cancers that are being seen in younger and younger people. I'm particularly concerned about neurodevelopmental disease, the increase in autism, attention deficit disorder, loss of IQ in highly exposed populations. So we've been able to connect through epidemiological studies and through experimental studies so many of these chemicals to adverse effects on the endocrine system, that we think that it is time to act, we have enough evidence to act, and we have put together a collective voice in the name of the Endocrine Society. That I'm not speaking as it happens now in their name, I'm speaking in the name of my own self as a researcher working on on this topic, and we have enough evidence to be able to start to legislate these substances.
All right, many thanks for that, Barbara Demeneix there, who teaches physiology and endocrinology. Thank you for being with us.